Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, sometimes certain movies hit you in a way that you just don't expect. And, you know, if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of entertainment industry professionals, and we pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more in a light and in a conversational fashion. And, you know, if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you do because you're listening. And if you are, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Give us your 5-star rating on your podcast provider of choice. We're available pretty much everywhere. Places like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google. And plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we'd absolutely appreciate it. Also, don't hesitate to check us out on the social media. We're on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Letterboxd, the TikTok, and, well, hell, probably a few other places too. At In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. But finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because guess what? If we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it even more when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So do us that kindness and pay us a visit wherever we are. Like we said, the site, YouTube, podcast, just do it. Come say hello. We want to say hello back. On this episode, we got a fun one. It is a brand new movie that is dropping onto Disney Plus, or Hulu, if you're in the States, tomorrow. It is Quiz Lady. You play Tiff. It is hilarious. It's starring Awkwafina and Sandra Oh as two sisters, one of whom, we'll let you know, it's Awkwafina is game show obsessed, and her estranged sister join forces to help cover their mother's gambling debts by winning it all on her favorite game show. It's simple, it's broad, but it's so well done. This is really an excellence of execution because it's just absolutely hilarious. It makes the jokes you expect, and then it leans a little bit further, and this is a broad comedy that has been done incredibly smart. I mean, it's from the creators of Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar and Booksmart. There's a lot of smart and funny people behind this movie, and we had the unique pleasure of sitting down and talking to a smart and funny person, the director, Jessica Yu, who was in town for the premiere back at the Toronto International Film Festival. We talked about how she got involved with the project, the nature of it all, the I don't want to say unique level of the comedy, but just really how it goes for the gusto, and it's just so much fun. This is one of those pieces of cinema that it's just pure joy. I mean, it's a little inappropriate, but there's a lot of fun. There is just a lot of fun, and like I said, if you're in the States, it's dropping on Hulu. If you are here in Canada, it is dropping on Disney Plus on November 3rd, which just happens to be today. So go check it out. But first, enjoy our interview with director Jessica Yu, because between you and me, it's a darn good one. Now, I mean, just to kick this off officially, you know, obviously, just first off, thank you so much for the time today. Sure. I really appreciate it. And I mean, congrats on the movie. It is so much fun.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I mean, I guess my first question is, like, walk me through the pitch to get involved in this, like, seeing the script, seeing these obviously two fantastically talented ladies, because, I mean, this is such a fun ride.
I tell you, when I first read the script, thought it was delightful. Loved that it was about sisters. Comedy's about sisters, right?
Totally, yeah.
And then Sandra Oh, Awkwafina, already attached. I was just like, could it be? Could this actually be? Could I be a part of this? And so then it was, of course, a conversation, but I think we really clicked early on. I had worked with Sandra a couple of times, so I was super excited about working with her again. Huge admirer of Awkwafina. But I tell you, just to have something like that land in front of you, and not that it was immediately like, you know, yes, do this, but from my point of view, it was like, this could not be better. Please pick me. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, I mean, obviously, like, I was there last night, played like gangbusters, and I mean, I was laughing, and I was even stopping myself a little bit, going, "Oh God, I just laughed at that out loud." It felt a little bit like this film was very conscious of, I don't want to say breaking any comedy barriers or being offensive, but it was definitely sort of pushing the bar a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, how important was it for all of you to really make this something that was genuine, but also, you know, bent that line a little bit to go, like, funny, but, like, uncomfortably funny sometimes?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. Because I think, well, there were two things. One, we thought if we did the relationship right, if we got the groundedness of these characters, then we could go a little silly, we could go a little bit more edgy in moments.
Yeah.
And so that was something that we knew that was the challenge, right? But some of the humor just came from conversations. A lot of it, okay, should say, a lot of the humor, of course, was baked into Jen's script.
Of course, yeah.
But some of these other, like the particulars about, like the Asian American
Right.
Jokes, we just thought if anyone can tell these, we can. And so just toying with Jenny's facility at pulling that card when it suits her, we thought that was really funny. And Sandra was very game for. She was like, "Oh yeah, let's go for it. Let's just let Jenny do these things and slightly offend." And so that was one thing. And then some of the more, there's the whole. I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but the whole shit in the whole thing. Let's just say the particulars of Anne's trauma.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Go in an unexpected direction, and that was something that came out of the conversations that we had. We were able to workshop a year before we started production, so it was me, Jen, the writer, Awkwafina, and Sandra, and it was really something that emerged from those conversations. Like, what would be something that is so terrible but also kind of funny?
Yeah.
That would be like such a terrible secret to hold.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I mean, the comedy allows for the double down. Because, I mean, there's the moment when Sandra loses the car, learn how to drive, racist, and then we get the extra bit. And it's just, that's really, to me, what made this click. And, I mean, obviously, working with Awkwafina and Sandra, I mean, they play off each other so well. Yeah. I mean, was there rehearsal, or was it just a question of just rapid fire, go, go, go? Because when you've got people who are so quick in comedy, like, I can imagine on one end as the director and the writer, your writer will want to stick to script. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, let's just wind them up and let them go and see what happens.
Yeah. So I think because we had that opportunity to work closely together, that was everything. And then throughout the year before production, we would have read-throughs just on our own. We'd get together to talk through things. So there was just this casual constant of working on the characters and working on what eventually became that chemistry on screen. So by the time we got to production, things were very smooth. It was very, dare I say, it was a very easy approach. The thing that we decided on beforehand that we talked about is that the first take or takes were always about the script. Let's do the script. Mm-hmm. And then making sure that we got the words in there that see how it played, but then always letting them have some chance to play and for the discovery, for the little bit of improv. So I think it was a really good mix that way.
No, for sure. And I mean, I loved seeing Will in this just because, I mean, he's essentially playing the straight man. Yeah. Like, I can imagine on one end, you've got Will Ferrell coming into your movie. Oh my God, big star, funny. But at the same time, it's like, oh God, is he going to take up too much space? Like, how was it working with Will? Just because he played it straight so well.
The thing about Will, I mean, he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
And very funny, very generous. He has a very generous presence. So really easy to work with, just a complete delight. In terms of his character, he did have input in terms of not wanting to, I think he was looking for what's the side of the character that is a little unexpected, maybe that would be especially unexpected coming from him.
Yeah.
So I think the real question about his character is he genuine? Anne is so invested in this relationship.
Yeah.
He's the constant. He's been there for her. is he going to be that? And of course, he's that and more. I mean, he comes off as kind of like, oh, folksy guy, but he notices everything. And I think that was such a lovely turn to be able to put in there.
I love that we never saw their mother. It felt like it almost would have been a distraction if there had been like an actual character there. Was that by design from early on?
Yes, we actually had filmed with the wonderful actor Christine, who played the mom. And
right.
I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her last name just off the top
No,
of my
no
head.
problem.
Anyway, so we did film with her, and then we filmed a version where we wouldn't see her. And I think what came about thematically is that the sisters, we had to play up her absence because that's what they were dealing with. The fact that they didn't have someone who could operate as a mom should, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, and in the end, we realized actually it made more sense not to see her. And so you have the presence of her, you have the sense of the trauma, but yeah, she wasn't there. So.
Something else I really appreciated about this is that, I mean, obviously it's very representative, 2 Asian women, great story, but again, it's not something that you're hitting the audience over the head with.
Yeah.
It's just about the relationship. It's about these 2 crazy sisters. On one end, obviously, I mean, as an Asian filmmaker, as, 2 actors, like, you want to have that representation, but you don't want to hammer it home either. Like, how do you manage to sort of find that balance?
I think we talked through the characters a lot about there's actually a lot of family history there that is like more nuanced in the film, right? Like
right.
That mom's Chinese, dad's Korean, mom's
exactly.
first generation,
Yeah.
dad's second, all that stuff. So that was important for our characters, for our actors. But it was almost like if you set that groundwork right, then whatever needs to come out will come out in specific ways. Whatever is. So there are some things about how Anne, is perceived by the internet, right?
Yeah.
When her video goes viral, and you see some assumptions made about her, some like jokes, and so I think it was seeing what made sense. What do we need to reference? What would come out for them naturally as characters?
Yeah, exactly.
And then also having it be something that, like, hey, Jenny will toy with that, right?
Right.
So it's not always something that's imposed on them. It's something she's also throwing out to the world.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, it takes it back. It gives it power. No, and I mean, I like that. Yeah. And it's one of those things that it added to the genuineness of it. Like, it's not playing on the tropes. It's allowing us audiences to focus on the characters.
Yeah. I think also, we were just very aware, hey, it's a comedy. We want this relationship, like that's the emotional backbone of it, but also it's like we're anywhere where we could make a joke, like that would be something we would always
and not
say.
cheaply, like smartly and funny, like that's I think that's where it works,
Yeah, it was, that part was very, very fun, and just trying to sort of thread that out and make sure that we had those touches throughout was.
Now, I mean, something I'm curious about with you, because I was doing my research, and I mean, I noticed, like, you've done some TV, you've done some documentary, you've done some feature. I'm always curious when I get to talk to people who've delved into all 3. I mean, can you talk a little bit about, I guess, maybe the differences? Because, I mean, on a show, obviously, like a, Fosse Verdon or something, like, you're coming in for an episode, like, you're almost for hire. Yeah. Where something like this, you're seeing it kind of cradle to grave. And I mean, I don't want to say grave, but you know what I mean. You're seeing it all the way. Like, how does the job differentiate between those kind of projects?
Every job is different. Every situation is different.
Yeah.
So sometimes, though, when you go and you work on a TV series,
right.
I always think of myself as the foreign exchange student, right? Where you come in, you go, how do you do things in your country? So there's sort of an agility that you have to have. But any project, you always have to bring something to the table. Sometimes it's a lot more. Sometimes, you're weaving through a structure that's more established than others. But I like that. I like trying to solve that. But really, it's about the story that's being told. It's about the people who are involved. So it always gets really specific.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No,
But
it does, yeah.
I do look for projects though where it's something new or it's something where I can bring more to the table. So it's a mix, and I like that.
No, I'm curious because obviously, as we said, you wish there were more people here, but circumstances there can't be. And I'm always curious to find out when the creative payoff is, because obviously, like when you're working on something like this, you can't imagine having a packed room like you did last night. It's not something that's even in the equation. Like, when does that moment come for you to go, it worked?
Right. Yeah. Oh man. Well, definitely last night because, and along the way we had a couple test screenings, which were great, and those were really fun. So already you feel like, oh, it's exciting. Creatively, I would say like that first workshop that we had was so much fun and so productive and really like meaningful. I thought, man, I hope we get to make the film, but this was already pretty great as a creative experience.
Right.
So it's so funny because that was so long ago. But then last night you're like, oh yeah, no, this is what it's all about. And I think that's what's great about this festival is that you have people who just genuinely love seeing films in a room with people. And so that's like, I felt just so nourished.
For sure.
Yeah. Super fun.
No, that dovetails into something else. Like, as a storyteller, as an artist, when you get a chance to be involved in a project like this, where you're seeing it all the way and you're workshopping it from A to B to Z, all the way to Z, how do you ultimately sort of let it go? Because, in many ways, like, you're emotionally attached. It's your baby. You love it. You've been pouring in blood, sweat, and tears, but at some point you just have to go throw it into the universe,
I know. I don't have... I don't have that. That's not a problem for me. And I think part of it is that I really fall in love with a project like it's every project is your baby for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm always like pretty like, it's not like you get everything right.
Right.
But I feel satisfied by the effort. So then sending off into the world feels like a really, really good thing.
For
but
sure.
Especially with this one, because it's a comedy. And I remember Sandra asking me when I first became involved, she was saying, well, why do you want to do a comedy right now? What makes you want to do this? And of course, besides the fact of them being involved and everything, I said, I want to do a film that I want to see right now, and I really want to see a comedy.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Now, how was that experience? Because people on the outside looking into, comedy's easy. It's like, no, directing comedy and making comedy is fucking it's hard work. Yeah. Like, how was that for you, especially like just sort of doing this in a feature realm?
Yeah, I think I had a lot of confidence in what was there, right? Like,
right.
So, the work that everyone put in, script, the script was very, what's the word? Robust, right?
Right.
And with our actors. So, I don't know, I felt like we were in a really, really good position. The thing that's always tricky is, you have more story than you can fit on
of
the thing.
Course,
and just parsing out what are the things that you need to pay off for the sisters, for that storyline. How many of these funny moments can we keep in there? So it's all that balance. That was probably where a lot of the that in that refinement, I think that's where it's a little bit trickier to make sure that you get it right.
No, totally. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, just to start putting a bow on this, and this is a silly question, but it's one I always like to ask. Think to your younger days, was there a movie or a moment or something you saw in your life where there was that little light bulb went off in your head and you said, I want to be a filmmaker, I want to be a storyteller?
Do you know, I never had that moment because I didn't go to film school, right? I kind of just started working in production and worked my way up. So it took a long time. I would say the reverse moment was that it took a long time for me to realize, I am a filmmaker. This is what I do. And
you reverse engineered it. I like that. I
was like, oh my God. And I think part of it is that, especially starting out, it was there'd be long periods between opportunities, between jobs, and that's also why I think I have kind of a weird track record in terms of the types of films, because coming out on the indie side, especially coming up as a woman, you just have to kind of jump on, either make your own opportunities or jump on what comes up. So, you end up with more of a patchwork. And I think ultimately, for me, that's been a strength.
Well, and that's a testament too, just not only to you, but I mean to people just looking to get their foot in the door. I mean, there isn't always a path. It's just like, just stick your foot in the door and then figure it out,
I don't think there's ever a path. Honestly, like if you ask 10 filmmakers, no one has the same story. So sometimes I definitely get stumped when people say, do you have advice for young filmmakers? I'm like, I don't know. Like we all got to the circus on a different path. So, yeah.
We're all in the land of misfit toys in one way or the other.
Yes, I know. Sometimes, yeah, like, I don't know, like on the set, you'll end up doing just the strangest thing is there's a group effort, all these professional people, we're all standing around, but we're working hard at playing this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your kid's at the candy store, and it's just, you're making something beautiful. And I mean, I think with this film, all of you really have. I mean, it is such a fun ride. And I mean, I'm so glad you got to be here and just sort of have that experience of the big room. And I mean, I can't wait when more people get to see it. People are going to love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. The last time.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.